And then from here, we place our hands onto our thighs. We keep our eyes closed, bringing our chin to our chest, right ear, right shoulder. Roll your head back. Inhale through your nose when you bring your head up. When you bring your left ear to the left shoulder, start to exhale, open mouth. Bring your chin in, inhaling up, and exhale down. And start to feel into what you like to release today. You know, for this stepping out, it needs awareness that something's not working for us right now. Maybe something is too much or just doesn't fit. So it needs this awareness to take a step out and to let go from that which is present in the moment, to get a new perspective. Reverse the direction. Still inhaling up, exhale, open mouth, going down. And imagine the breath transport out that which is not of service anymore. Last rotation. And slowly you come to center. Bring your shoulders up all the way towards your earlobes. So they're really high. And then drop down. Inhale, exhale, all through the nostrils now. Bring them up as high as you can. Sometimes when we're uptight in our shoulders, it really drags us energetically down and it starts to restrict our lungs, our breathing capacity. So you're lifting your diaphragm right now. It's especially good when we do a lot of typing. Just 15 more seconds, much higher, bring them much higher. Your earlobes are much higher than you think. Good, inhale up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You really want to feel your shoulders. You want to feel them on your earlobes. Hold it a little longer. And exhale, drop. Good. Arms out to the side into V shape. Your legs are wide apart, or you can sit cross-legged. You arch your spine. Exhale, you cross, you round, you tuck your chin, you touch opposite knees. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, all through the nose. Consciously open the front and the back. Always switch the cross, so that we're also stimulating our brain. Watch your arms, make sure you switch the cross. A little more. Bring the arms up to 60 degrees, not out parallel to the side. Into the V shape. The angles often are very important. They activate different organs inside. Good, inhale up. Exhale, arms to parallel now, palms facing downward. Inhale here. Exhale, keep your arms straight. So the tendency will be this, but you want to keep your arms really lengthened and straight. Inhale, exhale, and again, switch the cross each time. This is great for the brain and for our heart, for the lungs, sinuses too. Have your arms like steel. Steel doesn't bend. Keep it up, 30 more seconds. And this removes the tightness that we sometimes even unconsciously create around our heart center. Good, inhale and open. Exhale, bring your palms forward, elbows by your side. Inhale here. Exhale. And round your spine, have the arms, hug your ears, palms facing down, pour the navel all the way towards your spine. Inhale and arch. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Pull the navel in on your exhalation. Arms hugging the ears. Stack each vertebra at a time and you come up. Doesn't have to be a fast movement. One more minute. Really stretch. Strong breath. Breathe as deeply and fully in and exhale completely. Last 3 repetitions. Good, and then inhale. Place your left hand onto your heart center, right arm. So here my right forearm is parallel to the floor, my right hand is cupped. Yeah, so, and I want to bring my right arm so high up that my elbow is above my ear. That affects the liver meridian and the liver itself. So I inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So this morning I wanted to throw everything overboard that's not aligned with your essence. Close your eyes and see what doesn't serve me anymore. Make sure the forearm goes just parallel and not below parallel. Just imagine you work for your liver right now. Releasing any disturbances, maybe some stored anger or frustration, impatience, irritations. Giving our liver some room to breathe and work again. Last 15 seconds. And then bring your hands as far back as you can. Elbow towards the ceiling. Long, deep breathing here. Inhale, nose. Exhale, open mouth. And slowly bring your right hand on top of the left. Take a deep breath here. Bow towards your heart. And then we rest our hands onto our knees or thighs. Palms open. And we are ready for you.
Thank you, Siddhi. Okay. Okay, there, we're here. Hello, dear ladies, sweet ladies. So today we're going to talk about what is our essence or our true nature. If we were to distill sort of the bottom line of most traditions and religions, it would have a thread that would go through each of them that says that our nature is happiness, contentedness, peacefulness, untroubled, a state of equanimity, that is our natural state until we start incorporating mind, emotion, judgment, fear, ego. You can fill in the blank, whatever you would like. Each of these distracts us from our truest nature, from our essence. The awareness of being, the awareness of us being how we know ourselves before we are qualified by experience. So once we start to use experience as the qualifications and the qualities that define us, we lose touch with our essence. So as an example, if you have difficulty doing something, a particular task, and you start to say to yourself, I'm just not good at that. Like, I'm good at these things, but I'm not good at that. You've now given yourself a cage. You're like a bird in a cage. Now you don't believe you could be good at that or something that's associated with that. And once we train ourselves, it adds a layer of our belief of who we are. So we go through life gathering all of these pieces so that we can say, who am I? So we gather pieces that are based on our emotions, our thoughts, what other people say, what our ego says, and we give that to ourselves as a layer of truth. But it isn't a layer of truth. It's just a layer that we have picked up, we have accumulated. It isn't something that we came with. When you first came in as a baby, you didn't say, I can't do this, I'm not good at that. You didn't have any cognitive thoughts about your ability, capacity, and who you were. And then as you started to grow, you started accumulating by what other people said and what you believe of yourself. And we get ourselves into a rut of actually buying into this list of qualities and qualifications as though that is who we are. And that shrouds and covers and veils our ability to see ourselves as our truest essence and who we actually are at the core. So it's an interesting thing to think that the journey we're taking, we talk about being on a spiritual path. And we talk about this path taking us to the essence of who we are. But if you are already that, simply covered in dirt and covered in, tree droppings or whatever it happens to be, there is no path that's going to take you to that. You are already underneath of that. You are who you are. There isn't a path to go someplace and find yourself. You can't walk away from yourself to find yourself when you already are yourself. It's a contradiction. We have nowhere to go to be ourselves. We only have to be ourselves. So how do we start stripping off those layers that don't belong to us so that we can be living in this state of our own internal harmony that's natural? That's not to say the outside world doesn't have challenges and doesn't have situations that can be disturbing to us. You can be disturbed by something, but you don't have to take it on as a new layer of yourself. You can hold it like a loose garment just outside of you, and you can still be as involved, as responsible, as compassionate, and have as much empathy for whatever the situation calls for without it becoming a new layer for you. So our practice is in how we stay ourselves instead of wandering away from. So when we wander away to find a place, a happy place, so we're going to go find our happy place, we're wandering away from ourselves, not towards ourselves, because we're going into either the past, a place, I don't mean a physical place, but I mean, it can be a relationship. It can be anything. But when you believe that your place of contentedness and equanimity is outside of you, it either has happened and you want to return to it, or it's going to happen and you want to get to it, but it isn't now. And every time we believe that, we strip away the possibility of us living in that equanimity now, which is our essence. Our essence isn't in the past and in the future. It's now. It's who we are now. So it's not helpful for us to try and get to it. So this notion of having a practice that's going to make me happy, a spiritual practice that's going to put me on a path where now I'm going to be happier, or I'm going to be more content, or I'm going to be more peaceful, is just a bunch of malarkey, because you are already that. All we have to do is find practices that strip away the layers that keep us from seeing that we are already that. So we have to start looking at our emotions and our judgments and our ego's yearning and other people's opinions, and start to be in a place of awareness of what we're taking on that is somebody else's story, whether it's a societal story or a family story. How many people I talk to who have a belief that they are within their family structure, they are the clown or the smart one or the athletic one or whatever it happens to be, but they have a label, and within that family system, they can't get outside that label. That's everybody always says, well, but you're always good at that. And, oh, but you do that one that better, or you don't do that well. We have to step outside of those limitations that other people and systems, out of love, not out of, judgment and trying to make us wrong, but they're limiting us. And it doesn't even matter if it's true that you're not athletic, if that happens to be the what they've decided you are, and that's how they've labeled you. It doesn't even matter if that's true, because that's not the quality of your essence that we're talking about, because that can be changed. You can become more athletic if you go get trained. You can improve how your balance is and how your coordination is. And there are many things that can be changed in your system if you want to be retrained. And all of the things that can be changed is not our true essence. Those are qualities and attributes that we take on and we work with and we do whatever. And that's really fun. It's great. We can, decide we want to be lots of different things, but that is not what takes us to happiness. because those are not permanent. The permanent qualities of our essence are only things that cannot be removed from us, cannot be removed from us. So let's just say that if we want to be on this path, the determination of the path is not that it takes you somewhere, it's that it releases you from something. That you are able, through the practice and the path of a spiritual journey, you're able to liberate yourself. This is the whole thing we talk about, liberation, mukshi. You know, how am I going to get rid of enlightenment? How am I going to get rid of enough things that I'm light? Enlightenment, let me be light. Let me be lighter. Siddhi and I were just chatting about this. I think it was maybe even today. I can't remember with our time change. It might have been yesterday. About, you know, women typically don't spend as much time thinking about becoming enlightened. It tends to be more of a male concept because men tend to want to get to something, achieve it, and then move on to the next thing. So it's almost like on the ladder. And women tend to be more about the experience. We want it to be juicy and interesting and to flood us with all sorts of gratitude. And it's a feeling for us more than it is an accomplishment. But the real aim in our spiritual journey is to liberate us from anything that's keeping us from knowing ourselves. Because until we can know and stay within ourselves, we cannot experience true equanimity, happiness, contentedness, peacefulness, because it's always predicated on something shifting in your exterior world, your external world. And then you have to start all over again. So until we get to this grounded place of where we really sit, where the ocean of life goes around us, it's great, it's beautiful, and sometimes it's challenging and difficult, but it doesn't change that essence, that place that we sit where we find those qualities. These are just words we're using, but you know the feeling I'm talking about of being in a peaceful state regardless of your external circumstances. Peaceful, I mean, it's language, but it's a place of being undisturbed. It's a place of being in ease. We talk about dis-ease. We're out of ease. We cannot be in a state of ease if we have layers put over our essence to wherever the way we see the world and our perception of the world and of ourselves, those layers, you see through them and you see into yourself through them, they cloud how it is that we see ourselves, and it clouds our experience of being peaceful. We don't need to go anywhere to have this experience. We only need to be with ourselves. So we talk about, well, what does that look like? How do we accomplish that? I mean, is it a task? Is it a, you know, how do I get there? And it really is, it isn't, because it's not a journey, it's an awareness. And we talk a lot about one of the most important things that we can do in our lifetime is to learn to be in a place of awareness. Because when we're in a place of awareness, we have all of the faculties to be able to recognize what is ours and what isn't. When we take on things that are not ours, then we've added another layer. So how do we practice awareness? How do we practice being in a place where we're noticing that which is our eternal nature, and we're noticing the things that move? So for instance, thoughts are definitely not part of our eternal nature because they come and they go and they change. There's no rhyme or reason to how we're going to think about something from one day to the next. We can completely change our mind about something based on something else we heard or how we feel, so thoughts are definitely not part of our eternal nature. Feelings are the same way. You can feel very happy towards somebody when they're doing what you want them to do and how you would like them to behave. And when they start behaving badly, you don't feel quite the same way. So feelings are definitely not part of it. Feelings and thoughts are in response to something external that's happened that we've either judged ourselves or we've judged other. They're definitely not part of our eternal nature. So until we can stop being bombarded by thoughts and emotions and feelings, it's not to say we shouldn't have them, but we still keep them out here. We keep them in this garment that's loose, that isn't tight on us. so that we can flow within it. It's a caftan, ladies. We all need to be wearing caftans. We need to have a flow around us so that there's a movement and something's happening out there and we are in awareness of it, watching it going, ooh, that's interesting. But I don't have to be sad about it or unhappy about it, or I don't have to be disturbed or in dis-ease. We want to visualize that my awareness gives me the power to stay in this moment. You can't be aware of the past or the future. The past is a memory and the future hasn't happened. It's a made up thing. The only place you can be aware is in the present, in this moment right now. This is the only place that you can be aware. This is the only place you can find yourself. Everywhere else, it's a made up thing. It's just made up. So we have to start staying in the present. So searching for happiness or searching for equanimity or searching for contentedness, whether it's in a person or a place or a thing, is not giving us the truth of finding ourselves. It's just leading us down another path. Those are all beautiful things to do, but not to predicate who we are on. We can't predicate our level of essence and happiness and contentedness on something external. So we have to start living our life in this present awareness that is heightened. Even our senses are not a part of our eternal nature. Our senses are fleeting. They take in what's happening right this second. And then they have a memory of what they think they saw before. How many times have you and one or two other people been reminded of a place you were, and then you tell what you saw and everybody saw something different? There's no truth. Everybody smelled something different. They saw something different. They heard something different. That game of telephone is hysterical. If one person says one thing, by the time it gets to the end of the row, it's like a whole nother story. Our senses are stories. They just give us stories, but we can use them to heighten the experience. Why not? Why don't we want to have our sense of scent and smell be something fabulous when we're out in nature or when we're cooking? Or senses are a beautiful thing to give us an experience, to heighten an experience, but they are not our eternal nature. So we should be in awareness of them and enjoy them when we have the opportunity to utilize. One of the big practices in the yogic tradition is pratyahara. It means removing yourself from your senses. And it's a practice that is done often in a cave. It's often done blindfold with your ears covered. It's taking all of your senses and removing them from your experience so that your only place to go is in. It can't go out because you can't hear, you can't see, and you sit in a protected environment. So there's not a fear about it, but you're practicing letting go of those senses define who you are and what your life is. Enjoy them. They're beautiful, but they don't define us. And they don't need to give us, that's one of the things here that's very obvious to me is the sense, because the smell, because there's a lot of scents that happen in India that are not pleasant. And if you want to try to escape them, or you want to define the experience by them, you've missed the whole experience. We would allow our sense of smell to overtake all of the other possibilities of the experience. So we have to become more neutral. Neutral. I don't mean neutral in that we're not being excited and feeling it, and we're not having an expression because we're just like flatlined, but neutral in how we allow external indicators and external situations to impact what our internal experience is. And that can be through any of our senses. It can be through our thoughts and through our emotions. So this week, what I would like for us to do is to take the mantra, I am awareness, because the bottom line is that all we are is awareness. We are witness. We are witnesses in awareness. We are witnesses to the universe. We are the universe seeing itself. We're the universe seeing itself. That's what we are. We're witness to that. And if we allow anything in our lives to come between us and that, then we're not reporting the news. We're not reporting the universe back to itself. And a lot of dis-ease comes from that, Because if we're in awareness, how we treat one another, how we treat the universe, how we treat the planet, all of those things shift, because awareness puts us into a whole different frame of mind. When we're in awareness, we become much more sensitive to the health of the environment and to our own personal health and to our family's health. And I don't just mean bodily health, I mean on every level. So this week, please put on your refrigerator, on your bathroom mirror, on your dashboard in your vehicle, put Post-it notes. I am awareness, because that's all you are. And don't let anything come between you and the experience and the practice of being pure awareness for this week.
Thank you. I still had to smile because yesterday I read in one of Osho's books, Men Search for Enlightenment. They bring in practices for patience. And if women would ask to practice patience, they would say, what? We are patient. Because otherwise we would never raise children. So we need that patience. We are it. And I think that's the distinction that we have to face. Good. I like for us to interlace all fingers, cross the thumbs, and then you extend your pinkies. So these fingers are associated with the planet Mercury and communication, but it's also the water element. And it's part of our projection. So you bring this mudra right here. You close your eyes and you inhale, I am. And you exhale, mentally reciting awareness. You mentally recite, I am on the inhalation, awareness on the exhalation. It's time to release the mantra. Coming back to our breath. Hands into prayer pose. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, sweet lady.